Why would I have that?
You had the circus or something.
6'3", I'm late. Like, I don't even know what I'd be doing.
Now, when you do go to spring training, are you going to bring your chinchilla and your turtle?
My dad tell you about
The SEC is, God, they hate fat people. I mean, I get crushed for that. You know what I mean? And it's like, come on, man.
Hey, just the South, bro. You got a bunch of food down here. Like they should.
They're all fatter than I am.
Players, look at Lloyd.
You know what, Lloyd?
You're looking for a recruiting coordinator, coach. I'm here.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll piss my pants right now.
No way.
We're wearing gray pants, long gray pants. He goes, I'll piss my pants right now.
Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon. Welcome back to Mik'd Up. Today is Friday, August 4th. It's our first Feel Good Friday. Man, I feel good on the screen. I actually have a confidence monitor in front of me. We're making some upgrades to the new studio. We appreciate it. We're at Cards and Culture here in Perkins Row. This is our new home. We appreciate our good friend Anthony Renato allowing us to post up here. We are open. Cards and Culture is open to the public. Come in here and shop. Come in here and sit down on the couch. Is sitting there ready for you just to hang out. We have beverages to cool yourself off. It's very hot outside. If you're walking around Perkins Row and you just want to walk in to Cards and Cultures and kind of come and see what is going on, come stop in. We have a great show for you today. Like I said, it's Friday. It's Feel Good Friday. It's Easy Going Friday. It's our first Friday here in Perkins Row, so we're excited for this. Big show for you. We have the newest transfer to LSU baseball. Luke Holman is coming on the show via video call at 1:30. He transferred from Alabama. He was their Friday night guy last year. He is going to bolster the rotation that's already extremely talented this year. We talked about it earlier in the week. I think even after losing your Friday and your Saturday night guy, I think both of them combined signed for like $11.5 million. Even losing those two guys, I think that your rotation in general is going to be deeper and stronger next year than it was this year. Let's run through these Heineken headlines really quick before Luke comes on the show. Last night was the Hall of Fame game. Football is back, boys. Football, we will have football every week from now until February. And that's very fun. I'm very excited about that. The Hall of Fame game is the introduction to football again. It's usually, you don't see any of the starters. You don't see a lot of the guys that they just brought in from either free agency or through the draft. You saw some first-rounders. McDonald, the linebacker for the Jets, I believe. He played pretty much all game yesterday. You got to see a little. You saw Zach Wilson flash a little bit. Obviously, he's not the starter in New York right now. He's the backup. I think that's really good for him. I think it's going to make him better as a quarterback, learning underneath Aaron Rodgers. And speaking of Aaron Rodgers, I feel like Aaron, just watching him yesterday and the way he was interacting and the way he has been interacting since practice has started at the end of July, seems like he's extremely happy with his move to New York. Seems like he's rejuvenated. You have a young team. You have a bunch of guys that he feels like are bought into him. You have a staff that is bought into him. He is defending his coach, who was his offensive coordinator there in Green Bay. And he had an interview yesterday with Chris Collinsworth and Tirico, and he sounded like the old Aaron Rodgers. He sounded like he was having fun. He was enjoying his time. He was very happy about the decision. He's going to be there for 2 years. And he's honestly, I think he's going to be really good for Zach Wilson. I think he's come out in some interviews and he's teaching Zach Wilson how to exhale and breathe. And he said, inhale all of the negativity and just channel that. So he's taken some of that ayahuasca and some of the, the mental stuff that he has learned throughout the course of his life and trying to teach it to Zach Wilson. And Zach Wilson had a really good game. Aaron Rodgers called that deep ball down the left side for Zach Wilson. He completed, I think it was a 50-yard pass. So it looks like they are doing some really good things in New York. Their defense obviously is going to be really good with Robert Saleh as their head coach. Defense is going to be strong. So it was nice to have football back. We are on Sunday. We will be exactly 1 month away from the first LSU game of the season, which will be in Orlando against Florida State. We're going to get into some more LSU talk. John Emery is back at practice. Apparently, John Emery has been, getting some of the school stuff down. He's started to figure it out. He missed the first day of practice because I guess he had to finish his internship, or he had to work. So you would imagine that the company or the job or whatever he's doing for his internship would have said, hey, you have your first day of practice. We're going to just let you go. But they didn't, and now he's back. He was practiced there today. So, it's good to see him back. That just adds to the depth of the running back position. Now there's 8 running backs on the – and oh, you spilled?
Yeah, it's not good.
Oh, it spilled. That's okay. We'll get somebody to come and clean it up. We have a napkin maybe? It's okay. Let's look.
He's a rookie again.
Yeah. Welcome back, Jared.
Back.
Welcome back to the show.
He said it like such a little kid. I think I spilled.
He goes, I knew that was going to happen. Welcome back to the show.
Oh, hey, how y'all doing?
He has been, Jared's been gone. He's been,
No,
he's
get
been
me off of that thing.
In a different country for 10 days. How was Italy?
Europe, Italy, Spain, all of the above was outstanding.
I've never been, so
It was
it looked
outstanding.
amazing.
Yeah. I'm trying
The
to get
wedding
back.
was great.
The wedding was unbelievable.
I bet. I
Beautiful.
imagine.
10 out of 10 trip.
Perfect. I'm glad you're back though.
Yeah,
It's been a long time.
It's time to be back now.
We had a big break. You had even longer break. So it's nice that we got the band back together, and we're here. And we got a new studio. You come right back in. You really missed all the hard work of the transition, but it's
I planned
okay.
that nicely,
Yeah,
I
it's
tried
fine.
to put that thing around when we're gonna move this thing around.
Yeah.
I planned that nicely. So
Yeah.
it's,
Well, it's good to have you back. We're excited to have
you
you
guys
back.
did good though. It looks great.
We did a good job, and it's only going to get better. It's only going to get better as we continue to grow. Let's finish these. We have 19 minutes before Luke Holman comes on the show, and we are excited to talk to him. So to finish out these Heineken headlines, we talked a little bit about NFL. We talked about LSU starting here in about a month from Sunday. The biggest college football news right now is the realignment and the movement in college football. You obviously saw last year, you saw the announcement of Oklahoma and Texas. They are moving to the SEC. Like, that was a known thing. And there was talks about these mega super conferences. Some people said that's a good thing. Some people said that's a bad thing. What is about the history and tradition of the Pac-12, Big 12, ACC, all of these other conferences that you have, and they were trying their hardest to fight. Well, the Pac-12 got stuck in the Stone Ages and decided that, we're not going to do the whole TV deals that everybody else is doing. And you know what that's doing? It is crushing the Pac-12 right now. The Pac-12 is toast. They are French toast. Like, they're gone. They are Oregon and Washington have decided to move into the Big Ten, right? Arizona and Colorado have announced they are moving to the Big 12. The Big 12 away from the Pac-12, and you have all these other schools that are still there. They're trying to negotiate this TV deal with Apple. It's not the same thing as the other TV deals. It's not as lucrative as the other TV deals. So, does not seem like the Pac-12 is in good standing, and it seems like the Pac-12 is gone, and they're toast. I don't know how I feel about it. All I care about is good football at this point. I don't care what conference you're in. The SEC is about as solid as you can get. They're the cream of the crop. They're the best conference in the country. And so as long as they are still good, and as long as you have high quality football that you get to watch, that's the only thing that matters to me. NCAA, I feel like royally messed up and they screwed up, and I don't think they've done a lot of things right over the last, I don't know, forever maybe. Last forever. Like, I don't think that they've done many good things, but needless to say, the Pac-12 is they are in dire need of some serious help, and they need a miracle, I think, to survive. We're going to get into that. Also, they say keep your friends closer and your friends closer, your enemies closer. Obviously, Alabama. Anytime you talk about the SEC and LSU, you always have to talk about Alabama and Nick Saban and what those guys are doing. There's a lot of question marks around Alabama this year. Obviously, new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator. They don't know who their quarterback's going to be right now. They have a bunch of talented options there at quarterback. Nick Saban comes out in a press conference and says nothing. He has nothing to say on the quarterback competition. That it seems like that was a very standard response from him. He also walked off the podium with this huge smile on his face, enjoying his time. And I think people were kind of nervous about that because you don't normally see Nick Saban with that mentality. They are the second favorites. That's very squeaky.
It's the squeakiest
That's very
stool
squeaky.
in the land.
They are the number 2. I think Georgia is the number 1 team in the SEC. No, actually, Alabama's are the favorites to win the national championship in the SEC. Georgia's right behind them, and then LSU is 3rd. LSU, out of the top 5 schools in the country, or I guess top 5 colleges, LSU is 5th in odds to win the national championship. Not very high, I think about 5%. But they are a lot higher right now than they were last year at this time. So it's going to be a fun football season. I'm looking forward to it. But we still have a little baseball conversation to have. Luke Holman's coming in. I'm excited to have him in. I'm excited to have you back on the show.
Yeah.
I'm excited to have our new area in the show. Like, I'm excited to have this new vibe and this new atmosphere. And if you hear some chimes, it's not new music. It's not sound effects on our show. It's just people coming in and out and just trying to hang out and be part of the squad. And we enjoy that. That's the beauty of where we're at and the beauty of the culture, to be honest with you. So we're looking forward to it. Jay, we got 15 minutes to filibuster until Luke comes on the show.
Yeah.
What was your favorite thing about Italy or Europe or Spain or wherever you were?
Let's go with the food. It's different, man.
Healthier, huh? Cleaner.
Healthier.
Fresher.
Cleaner. Different. It was good though. Like I go to Spain. I ate a lot of paellas.
Yeah.
Ate plenty of that. Tried plenty of pizza. I smashed some pizza.
I bet you did. Was
Plenty
it
of
good
pizza. I think a big thing there is kind of sitting around at coffee shops a lot. I took my time. I probably hopped into about 2 coffee shops a day, just trying
People
to find
sleep
different
in
spots.
Italy, right? They sleep in. They have a big lunch, and then they
First
work
off,
later, right? Is that how
sleep
that
in
works?
is, let me tell you. So like here at 6 a.m. is you can't run a successful coffee shop or coffee business here without being awake without being open early in the morning, right? 6 a.m. is not a thing there at all.
Nobody's up.
I'm talking, you could literally run naked in the streets at 6 a.m. and probably not get touched. It's not a thing. Like, nobody's on the streets, nobody's moving, nobody's up and around. Coffee shops don't even open until 9 o'clock for the most part. You may find one like every other block that might be open at like 6. It's just not really a thing there. So yeah, the culture that's different. The culture of eating dinner there is different, or even eating in general. Like here in the States, you sit down and go eat somewhere. It's considered not good service if they're not there refilling you half a drink and not asking you if you need anything. There, you could sit there for 3 hours and they don't come up to you, because if you don't summon them over and tell them like, hey, I need something, hey, I need my check, they're not coming. Because apparently they'll sit there and go to dinner and sit at dinner for 3 hours, and it's a thing there. So getting used to that's different. There's another thing that kind of felt criminal, but it just is what it is there. There's no such thing as tipping in Europe.
I heard that. I've heard that too.
Like, if you're paying with a card, it's not even an option on the check when you get it. It's not even an option on the receipt when you sign it. Like, tipping's not
Here's
anything.
my question.
It's not a thing with Ubers and taxis. It's not a thing at dinner.
Now, are the prices higher because of that?
They're way lower.
Their prices are lower and there's no
Prices
tipping.
are way lower
So they
and
must
there's
be
no
paying.
tipping.
So they must be paying their waiters and waitresses
I
a higher salary.
and I
right?
think what they do is like I think the reason, my guess is the reasoning behind that is this is how we'll get people out and eating more. And if we get you out and into the place more and into the streets more, we're fine. We'll pay our way, as opposed to it's kind of the opposite here, right? Like you can go there and sit there and have drinks, appetizers, steak dinner at a steakhouse, and literally leave on a date less than $100 in the hole.
Wow.
It's
USD,
unbelievable.
$100 USD or $100. What's the currency?
The euro?
Is
Right
it the
now,
euro?
is
Is it all there?
Well,
euro?
well, see, they give you an option to pay for
I think so.
pay
That
in
makes
either.
sense in Europe.
They give you an option to pay in either, so you really basically just take whichever is the higher currency at the time. Right now, euro is the better one to take right now because I think it's 90 cents to the dollar or the opposite way around. I just know I chose. I don't remember. I just remember.
We're not numbers guys.
I remember choosing to pay for in euros every time because it was the better one to pay in. But the experience is great, man. The European trip is all about it's expensive to get across the pond, if you will. But once you're there, everything is so easy to get to. Like I'm like literally in Barcelona. I'm in Barcelona. I'm a 2-hour flight from London. I'm an hour flight from Milan. I'm probably a 35-minute flight from Africa. I'm a 45-minute swim from Ibiza. It's literally all right there. So like everything's super, super, super close there.
Yeah, they pay. There's no tipping because you make a livable wage.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah,
I mean, it
yeah,
has
they
to
do.
be the.
They take care of their people.
Hey, I'll tell you what. Dude, go back. Put your screen back on. Wow. That's a really, really, really cool backdrop on you. I mean, that's way better than what we used to have for you.
Yeah, see, you made me responsible for my own backdrop. Now I pick one that's just cool.
Yeah,
I don't
now
have
you
to
don't
do
have.
anything.
Wait, go back. Let's highlight some of the pictures you got. You got Biggie on the top over your left shoulder. I guess if you're
That's
looking
not
at
the right
screen
point.
over
Yeah,
your
yeah,
right,
yeah. Left hand.
right. You got Nola
There it is.
right there to your right hand, right there. I mean, look at you got a lot of stuff. You got a lot of really
And you
cool
got the
stuff.
foot traffic there. There we
And
go.
you got
Hold
some
on.
foot traffic. This is good. This is good. I'm happy for you.
All of that's for sale.
I'm happy for it's all for sale.
It's all mine.
A lot of
I'm
real
happy
estate.
that people now that don't have to look at you, they can look at what's behind you.
Nice wide shot for all the
Distracts.
real estate back there.
It distracts from you, which is a good thing.
Absolutely.
So Jay, I don't know if you noticed. I know you're off the grid for a minute.
The
Football started.
That happened. I wasn't.
Yeah, LSU football has started. Like they are practicing now.
Yeah.
This is day 2.
Yeah.
We had a very in-depth conversation on Wednesday about what we would like to see, what we don't want to see, what we're worried about, nervous about, what we're confident about. Your 30,000 view of the team right now. What are you looking forward to? What are you not looking forward to? What do you want to see in camp?
That 30,000 view is probably about a 30,000 mile view because that's about how far I am from everything going on right now. But what I want to see in camp, if I had to just think about it on a surface level, outside looking in, not really knowing where things are right now, I would just really love to see an upgrade in the passing game, right? Like we already know what Jaden has brought to the table and brings to the table still offensively with his legs. We got a chance to see him grow in the offense and kind of put it together passing-wise. I would like to see that side of it take another step, that chemistry with his receivers, tight ends, and backs kind of just evolve a little more and turn into something what is modern-day dominant, which is prolific passing games, not only in the SEC but throughout college football and obviously in NFL football as well.
So I made a prediction on Wednesday where I guess some people did not like that
Yeah, I saw
prediction.
that. I got it. So
I don't understand that.
So here's my question. I don't know what is, and
And I didn't say it was going to happen.
I can
said you
honestly
could see it.
I can honestly say this. I don't know exactly what is considered numbers-wise a great season for a tight end in college football, but my question would be this. It seemed like the thought was that the mindset is if you're throwing to a tight end, it can only be dink and dunk, flat, choice, curl, drag, over type routes, and
Yeah,
you
fourth
can't
read on a
you
route,
can't
yeah.
push a tight end down the field. If you can push a tight end down the field, I would imagine in a 12 to 13 to 15 game schedule, it's not out the realm of a possibility that a tight end can have an 1,000-yard season.
Right. If you're
That's
playing,
my guess.
If you're playing a 14-game season, right, and he averaged 100 yards a game. I'm not saying he's going to. That's 1,400 yards receiving.
But
for the
even
season.
12, you don't like. We played 12 games.
Right.
That's 1,000% on the
So
schedule.
let's say he's averaging. Now I'm not a math guy.
80 yards a game.
What's 70 yards a game for 12 games? Anybody know? 70 yards for 10 games is 700, right? So that's 2 more games, which is another 140. So 840, that's 70 yards a game for the 12 games. Now if they play 13, 14 games.
So I said 80 yards a game.
I mean,
Like I said,
it's not impossible.
if the mindset is the only way that we can get the ball to the tight end is in 5-yard flat route drag right under the linebacker routes, then yeah, I'm with you. I understand. Like, oh man, that's not a progression from what we saw. But if we can push a tight end down the field, i.e., what you saw Georgia do with Bowers
I think
and
you
those
started
guys,
seeing it towards the end of the year.
if
last
you
year,
can see
LSU.
teams push them down the field and they're able to do that, I don't understand how, and like I said, for sure 12 games, because that's on the schedule right now, no matter if you go 0-12, right? That's on the schedule. For sure 12 game to a possible 13th, 14th, and 15th game, I don't understand how 1,000 yards isn't in the realm of possibility.
No doubt.
That's where
and
my
I didn't say
mindset
it was
is
going to
at.
happen. I said that you could see it.
That was my thing. It's like they were acting like you were like saying it's a definite, it has to happen. It's like, no, it's just you asking for predictions. This is a prediction.
Yeah, like it could happen. Like it's not. If it happens, I would not be shocked. Especially because you have a guy who's in his second year in the offense, both quarterback and wide receiver. He started towards the end of the year last year. Started stretching the ball, stretching the field towards the middle of the field as a tight end. And now you have another tight end that's extremely athletic. So now you have to cover 2 guys. Plus you have Malik Neighbors, and Brian Kelly came out yesterday and said they're going to use him a little bit differently, kind of similar to what they started doing towards the end of last year. And so when he started really taking that next step and as a star receiver. So I don't see why that can't happen. I'm not saying it will, but I'm saying that I would not be shocked. You guess? You may
I'm saying
speak.
all those reasons you laid out is the reason why it probably won't happen. Like it's not like you have to throw it to. They have so many threats on the offensive side.
I understand that, but here's my rebuttal to that. In 2019, you had a bunch of threats too, and they all ate. Right? You had more threats probably in 19 than you do now.
Yeah,
and they all had 1,000 yards rushing, receiving.
It's the greatest offense in LSU history.
I understand. I'm not saying they're going to do that, but I'm saying you don't have 3 receivers that are going to go for 1,000 yards on this one team. So somebody else needs to. If Jaden Daniels throws for 3,000 yards this year, you'd imagine that you're going to have a chance to have 2 guys with 1,000 yards receiving.
I got a feeling that if you see a
Was that?
I would be surprised just because of all the weapons that they have. You can Malik Neighbors, Kyron Lacey.
Yeah, but Kyron Lacey's the possession guy.
Yeah,
but
that's what I'm saying. It's just he's only going to. And when you think
my
about
question
Jaden
is, you're
Daniels,
saying all these weapons. What have the other guys done to giving you the confidence that they're going to get more balls? Like I'm not saying they're not, but what has Chris Hilton done to make you believe that, he's going to be able to be featured in this offense outside of the fact that he's extremely fast and he's talented?
Oh, I just think that that's something that they want to do. If you'd already heard that they're going to use Malik Neighbors a little bit differently, I think they look at all of them. What you saw last year is not what they want to do again, right? That's been the entire tenor of the offseason as to
I think we
change
saw
the
towards the
offense.
end of last year.
Yeah.
They're going to be more
But I think
towards the
that's
end.
and I don't think that Jaden Daniels is going to have the responsibility to run as much because he's more comfortable in the offense. So
Right, well, I
think
think
he's going to start spreading it around.
But wouldn't that make
I don't know if
sense
it's
to have,
so
have more receiving
yeah, I
yards
don't
from the tight end position?
in my mind, like spreading it around is something in a way that's kind of overplayed, if you will. Like I think in a mindset of, say we were able to complete, I don't know, let's just throw it out there, 25 passes, but we hit 6 different receivers. Spreading it around, to me, in a really good offense means like 2 of those need to dominate. The other 4 of those need to keep you honest. So my point is like if we're using Malik Neighbors in a different way, he sounds to me like he's going to be the volume guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how it comes, he will be the volume guy, which means you still have to have guys that are proven, that can be third down converters, guys that are trusted, right? Who do we know right now going into the season, going into camp really, that is for sure trusted outside of Malik Neighbors?
Yeah, Mason
Brian
Taylor.
Thomas and Mason Taylor, right? So it doesn't sound to me like if you were to actually see I don't know, just say on the surface, 850 to 1,000 yard receiving coming out of a tight end spot. Let's just say
Listen,
it's
if
not.
he has 800 yards
Yeah,
receiving,
let's
that's
just
a
say it's
huge
not.
year,
Let's just
you
say
know?
it's not Mason Taylor. Say it's the other guy. We don't know, right? But if you got that coming out of the tight end spot from one guy in my mind, out of this offense, you're probably going to be looking at a top 3 to 5 offense in the country.
Yeah.
That's just my guess. And you're probably going to be looking at a team that is a game away or going to be in the college football playoffs, in my mind.
No doubt. No doubt. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying that there is a possibility.
In this offense, it's a help. Let's just put it like that.
I think, if I want to give an actual thing that I think is going to happen, I think he will be he'll have the most receiving yards in the history of LSU from the tight end position this year. Which, what'd you say it was? Thaddeus Moss had it, right?
Yeah, he had like 850.
Was it 850 yards? I didn't think it was that much.
There you
but
go.
Still, like,
Nobody complained about how they used him that year, and
Right.
we still had 3 receivers who put up
Over 1,000
unbelievable
yards,
numbers.
over 1,000
right?
yards. He would
And
have been
we
the
were still
fourth.
able to get 850 to Thaddeus Moss. So if you're telling me that if we can get a tight end to go from 850
and
to
you're not going to
1,000
have
plus,
the same offense.
sounds like we got a great offense.
Right, and you're not going to have the same as
570.
that year. Huh?
570.
570, not 850. That's way off.
That was 300
ain't even
yards off.
close.
That was 300
But
yards off.
Career yards.
But because even when I'm right, even when I'm wrong, I'm right. Like I said, you still had 3 receivers who were over 1,000, like 10 touchdowns.
Yeah,
each.
and a 1,000-yard rusher.
I would go to guess, but that's probably not going to be the case this year.
Right, and I'm not saying you're not going to have a 6,000-yard passer. You're not going to have a guy that throws 50 touchdowns or 60, be responsible for 60. You're not going to have that. What you are going to have
I don't
is
know.
you're still gonna-
Responsible is possible.
I mean, 30.
I'm just saying.
I mean,
30 guy?
Coach, that's
Coach,
a
I'm
lot.
just saying, Coach.
That's a
I'm
lot.
just-
That's
yeah,
a
no,
lot.
it's a ton. I'm not saying anything, but it's possible.
Let me know. When
Going
Lucas
into
in there.
19, we damn sure didn't say, "Hey, this is going to happen."
No doubt, I'm
we
with you
damn
there.
sure didn't say, "Hey, this is in the realm of possibility."
You're 100% right
That's
there.
all I'm saying.
100%.
That's all.
But it's the moral of the story is going to be an exciting offense. I think Jaden, for what everyone said about him last year, I think he's going to take that next step. I think that you've seen it. He's added more weight. He's added more strength. He's a bigger guy. He's got year number 2 in the offense. And so I think that he's going to have a lot better grasp of the offense, the reads, understanding when the ball needs to go to who and when, and timing and continuity of when guys get out of their routes and all of those types of things. So
I think, and here's the thing too. I'll throw this out. I'm not exactly sure how much he didn't quite understand those things last year. Because remember, we were talking about a guy that was year 4 for him being a starting quarterback. Obviously, in this system is different, but I think the trust level is going to be completely different from day 1 through the entire season than what it was from day 1 through the entire season last year. And I think that's going to be the biggest part or the biggest change in it.
So we talked about Mekhi Wingo and we talked about Mason Smith, right, and the defensive tackles, like 2 of the best defensive tackles in the country. What do we feel about Jacoby and Guillory?
Oh, I heard that they're going to use him with the 3 technique this year and want to get him out there.
Right.
Oh,
So
you
that's
heard.
3 guys. He hurt.
You got a birdie.
We got sauces.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you got
Shea
somebody
Dixon,
to eat.
watch
huh?
out.
Well, I mean, see, that's the deal. You can't give your sauces on the show.
It was the practice was open to the public.
Well, for 15 minutes.
That's the only time anybody could have been there.
So
what
that's
I
what we're
mean.
going on. Okay, that works. Yeah.
That's just
Okay.
his take.
Use what your eyes can see.
So I mean, that's three defensive tackles. Yeah, you're gonna have a bigger rotation than just 3, but
hopefully.
I mean, you'd imagine. But having those 3, and then filling it in with all the other guys, I think that's a huge upgrade from what we've had over the last couple of years, right?
That's my second side of what I'm interested to see in camp, if you will, is we know a lot, or we have way more information about the front and that linebacking core, and obviously the secondary. Even though there's a lot of talent there and there's some promise there, that's what we don't know what we're getting out of it right now. And obviously a stronger front, a better front is going to help them, but we don't know what we're getting there yet as 2 groups, if you will.
I'm excited. I mean, I'm pumped for what we see from the squad. I'm pumped that football is just back on
It's
TV.
football season, baby.
Is he not in there? Is he not here yet? No. He's a little. You can jump in. He's a little soft-spoken, so when he gets in the show, we're gonna have to really bring his personality out.
Yeah, that happens.
Peel that onion.
We gotta just peel 1 layer at a time. You know what I mean?
You're putting it back together?
What?
Did you say peel? You're gonna put it on right back together? Is that
Peel
what- Oh, yeah,
one
peel
layer
it
at a
one
time.
layer at a time. Yeah, I thought you said put it back on 1 layer at a time.
No.
I was like, no, you got. That's not how you
Can't do
use
that.
it.
I don't think that's possible.
Humpty Dumpty.
What do you think about the realignment in college football?
That's why I was like,
Oh, me, I don't care at all. Too many things have happened
That's
to
good.
where
That's good insight.
I can't keep up with it, and it's
That's great. That's good for the show. That's
well. You asked my opinion.
you don't think you don't like it doesn't bother you. You don't do anything. You don't think it's gonna help, hurt. Like you have opinion on it. You're just indifferent.
Yeah, the teams
Whatever
that are good
happens,
are the teams that
happens.
are good pretty much every year.
What's
so
that mean?
it doesn't really matter which conference they're in. There's the haves and the have-nots. There's probably
I think, but
12.
see, I disagree with that. I think those teams that are really good going to a tougher conference is going to make their life a lot harder.
Yeah, like your Oklahoma and Texas are going to have a much harder time.
Your
in the
Oregons
SEC.
and your Oregons are going
But
to have
are
a
they?
lot harder time in the Big Ten.
But are
than
they?
they did in the Pac-12.
But I said, but are they?
Who?
The,
Oregon?
the Oklahomas and the Texas. Look, we know season one, like we know what their schedule is, but
Yeah, then what's the? I know what I would
we
think.
no longer have division, so like it's gonna come down to how they write the schedule
and
up.
it's
now.
going to help them in recruiting, being able to say that
Absolutely.
we're in the SEC. I see all that,
Yeah.
but it's going to take a longer time, I'd imagine. Than they're not going to be Texas going to be back. They just take a step back to have to go forward at some point.
I'm not so. Look, and to me, I think a lot of the Texas talent, and maybe even like into some of these guys that are in Oklahoma and coming out of high school, I think they lose a good amount of these guys to come and play in this league. And now if you're telling them they'll get to play in this league and still either be at home and not only get to maybe go home once a year, maybe they keep some more of these guys. I think that's a possibility. So now I'm not sure. Like I'm not sure how long I really think the grace period, I guess you will, for those teams to kind of get in this league and have some success and make some noise in this league.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not so much worried about the Texas-Oklahoma stuff coming to the SEC. Like, I think that they are going to be, like, they have a name brand. They've had a history of success.
Right.
Like, they are going to be good. What I am interested to see is the teams like Oregon and Washington, who, like,
Right.
Washington is not a perennial power, but they've been good some years because of the Pac-12, right? And I think that moving to the Big Ten, yeah, that's going to help them in recruiting a little bit, but they're still in the Northwest. The Northwest.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
He had
They're
to say
still
the
in the-
acronym in his
yeah.
head while he was going.
They're still in the Northwest, and so it's hard to get people to travel from Louisiana, Texas, Florida, all the way up there to go and play for them. But they are going to be in a better conference, which means they're going to have a deeper schedule with tougher teams.
Yeah.
It's going to make their life harder. So I don't know how good they're going to be moving over there, right? The defenses are going to be better.
Not just that too. Like I get it. It's not necessarily coast to coast, but I don't know how many 4 to 6 times a year
Travel.
they're going to have to travel across the country. That's the tough travel,
No
right?
doubt.
Like how much is that going to affect those? Because let's be honest, like 4 games of a schedule, 6 games of a schedule. That's a large portion of your schedule right there. Like how much is that going to affect performance and how they play because they're the ones that's having to do it that much?
No,
right?
no doubt.
So-
No doubt. I mean, I think they bring a good name brand to the Big Ten, and I think it's going to help the Big Ten. I don't know how good they're going to be early on in the Big Ten. Now, Oregon, potentially, right? Oregon gets some guys up there. They have the whole Nike deal. They have they have everything like that to bring the players up there. But some of these other schools that are going to the Big Ten, it's going to be a little different. It's going to be a little tougher on them to try to have success early on.
Yeah, I can agree there. I definitely think it's going to be a little tougher for those West Coast teams who are going to go into the Big Ten to kind of find early success, if you will.
No doubt. All right, we're just going to keep rolling with the show.
All I know is the college football conversation with Jared being here is way better than it's been the last 2 days when I was here. y'all been rolling for 15 minutes.
Hey, we're educating him a lot on college football. Anthony's gonna be a college football expert with us, with Joe over there, just really having
And
I mean,
gambling.
it's-
You got to throw in the
Oh, and the
gambling.
gambling
You gotta learn a
side of
lot
it, no
on
doubt.
the books,
No doubt.
He's already an expert there. He doesn't want to tell you.
Anthony's
It hurts when you lose, so I learned quick. That's it.
Anthony's gonna be going to tailgates and not asking. He's gonna be telling everybody, "Hey, this is what you need to look for. This is what you need to do."
This is
I
what
saw
you put-
this on
this
the
is what
injury
you put the
report.
money
Get
on.
ready.
Exactly. telling you.
That's what I'm a big. It's strictly stats. I don't really know too much other than that, but that's what I'm betting on.
Which is why Brian Kelly has an.
Uh-oh.
There it goes.
Assurance.
I did not.
That wasn't you that time.
That was
Assured,
not me.
assured. Sorry.
That was not me.
It's the way
Not
the wind
assurance.
blows.
Brian.
That's what happens when you get air conditioning in the
Yeah,
studio.
yeah, you're right. I'm not sweating my ass off anymore. That's why Brian Kelly announced. He was like, "Look, I'm going to announce our injury reports like the NFL, right? They're going to have like doubtful, questionable, and they're going to do it at certain times. And part of that is because of the betting thing, right? Like sports gambling. He doesn't want to have
You talking
any
about BK?
effect
Yeah.
in like trying to influence sports betting one way or the other. He's not intending to do it, right? But he's like, well, this is a good way for me to monitor it. Like, hey, we have injury reports on these certain days, and this is how we're going to announce it.
I like it.
Brian Kelly is he's a very intelligent person.
Yeah.
He understands
That's
the
interesting.
landscape
Yeah.
of everything,
Of everything
not just
that's
what his
going on.
team's going,
That's
what's happening.
awareness.
And I think you need that, especially in today's world and like this modern era of recruiting and football and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah. I feel like in 5 years too, like things are going to be ironed out and figured out a lot, like, but it's such a wild west right now with so many different things happening, NIL, gambling, technology, all these things blending together.
You'd imagine.
Yeah.
You'd
Hopefully.
imagine.
I wonder if I.
You
Because
don't
if it
want
doesn't get better, it can only get worse.
yeah. And if it gets worse,
I wonder if I didn't tell him it was Central Time.
not
Anything?
gonna
Where
Where
is he? What state is he in?
he called an hour ago actually.
No, it's not. It wouldn't have mattered.
Where is
No,
he?
Alabama. Is he in Alabama?
Central Time though.
Yeah.
There's definitely parts of Alabama that are Eastern.
Yeah, but if he's in Pennsylvania, he's from Pennsylvania.
That's Eastern.
That's Eastern, so it wouldn't matter. Is my point.
You're
Because it'd be early, so it wouldn't matter. So my theory is out the window.
Breaking news: we got 3 games for Alvin.
for what?
Oh, they came out?
Just now?
Got him good. Huh?
3 games is good, dude.
Breaking.
Hey, 3 games is actually solid for the
games?
Saints.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah.
Is that what?
Might
what do they
get that
expect?
thing
6?
down to 2 games, maybe, possibly. I think it'll stay at 3 though.
What,
I
what
don't
do they
think he's-
expect? 6?
I was expecting
4 to
to
6?
kind of start somewhere there.
4 to
Probably.
6.
So he went up to. So the reason why I thought it was going to be 6 games is because remember when Ben Roethlisberger had that whole incident?
The
He
bathroom.
raped that girl in the
No,
bathroom.
okay, Jesus Christ.
Jesus.
You are aggressive.
Hey, yo.
Well,
Take it easy over
somebody
That's
needs to
not
say
what I'm
it.
talking about.
Somebody needs to say it.
That's
He had his
I mean,
offensive line
Jesus
blocking for him in
Christ.
overtime.
That's
Oh
not.
my
I'm talking
God.
about. I'm talking about
God.
the
A lot of
fight
real estate in that shot over there.
that he got into. He got into a disagreement, a fight, and somebody sued him or did whatever and had a civil suit against him.
Oh.
And
That's the thing you know about Ben Roethlisberger?
it got no. I know multiple things.
I
about
thought we
Ben
were
Roethlisberger.
talking about the topic, but I wasn't going where you went.
I was
but-
not going where you were going because that's not as any relevance to what Alvin Kamara did.
Time out over there.
Anyway,
So the next few
those
plays
charges
now-
got dropped.
Catch your breath.
Those charges got dropped, and there was no legal action taken on Ben Roethlisberger, but Roger Goodell still came out and suspended him 6 games, right, for that season. So I thought same thing was going to happen with Alvin because there's precedent there, right?
Right.
And instead, he got 3 games. Now, Alvin flew up to New York to go meet with Goodell on his own dime, was proactive in this whole thing. The reports of that meeting were, they said they were extremely positive. Goodell even came out and said they're very positive. So I don't know if that helped. Maybe in that conversation he said, listen, let's figure out something here. I won't appeal.
Yeah.
If it's something I feel like we'll just get past this and I won't appeal it. And maybe that's what they said. Okay, you're going to get 3 games. I won't appeal it. I'll take my 3 games and move forward. With the extra game in the NFL, he still gets 14 games
Right.
to play, right? And so hopefully the Saints are, clinched at that point and you don't have to worry about it. But
Yeah.
I think 3 games is a win for him. I mean, the guy got his ass beat. He was in a
didn't do
bad
it,
spot.
apparently.
That was.
He said he didn't do it.
Yeah, well, I mean, they had a little video of him.
There was some.
That's some
I
video.
he just didn't see him there. He was just trying to walk into the elevator. Tripped and fell.
That's what they say.
Uh-huh.
But 3 games is a
That's
win.
what he said in the Uber.
It's worth three games.
So what? He can appeal that now, and so it might go down.
He
to
can.
2,
If he
or-
wants, I don't think he is.
I don't
though.
think
Yeah,
he
but I
will.
mean,
Would
he
it
might
be
be pumped
3?
and be like, 3 is cool.
Yeah,
I'll take
3.
it.
I'm going to take 3.
That's great.
I'm not gonna. I don't need my name in the media
Exactly.
anymore.
It's over.
Let's get past this.
Sit the first. Is he gonna sit the first 3 out?
Yeah, I think you
Yeah.
have to say the
That's
first
good.
3.
That's
yeah,
perfect.
First 3. So you probably won't play any preseason. Oh, yeah, you probably won't play any preseason
Yeah. To
games.
miss less than a month for where that thing
That's what I'm
started
saying. Yeah. Mid-season, he'll be
sounds
back.
like
Everybody
a
will forget about it.
yeah. Sounds like a win to me.
A huge one. When's the Saints first preseason game? Do you know? Anybody know? Joe? A week from Sunday? So
coming
they
up.
don't play this week. There's no more games this week, right? All the other games start next week.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm looking forward to that. I mean, I'm looking forward to see the offense. I'm looking forward to see Derek Carr.
Preseason,
Not
they play,
David
like,
Carr.
in the cities, like they. Like,
Derek Carr. Say David
or
too many
they-
times.
Are they
Yeah,
like?
they do.
So like
The
they'll have a
actual-
game.
The actual like preseason game.
Yeah, they'll have like a game in the Superdome or whatever.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
whatever,
one or
Caesar-
2.
yeah.
They'll
Little
probably have
dress
2 there
rehearsal,
and
if
2
you
on the
will.
road.
Yeah.
A dry run.
That's all.
Is it 3 preseason games now? It's only
Quarterbacks
3
play,
now.
like,
Yeah,
like
it's
8
down to
snaps,
3.
right? Like 2 plays.
We're a
like,
sports show. I should know that.
Yeah, if that.
Some of them don't even do that.
Just verifying.
Yeah, just check with your sources.
Check with my sources. I got sources everywhere.
Sources
I don't
are
have
important.
sources. I don't. Also, may not. People don't think I have sources. It's just rumors.
true.
It's just rumors.
Here's
Sometimes.
rumors.
There's some rumors.
The Twitter stuff.
Well, Lloyd kind of gave you his sources already, so
Yeah, his sauces. It's
Yeah,
okay. Never supposed to reveal a source.
Said it live on the radio or on the podcast this morning.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, so
What
it wasn't an
podcast?
off-air conversation.
Oh, he said it
Yeah.
on the show.
I
got you.
mean, you know,
I
let
got
people figure that out for themselves.
Yeah. I'm just trying to relay the message.
No mystery in there. I'm just giving it all up.
Speaking of,
At least take you on a date first.
Taking a lot of sports.
I didn't see it.
So there's a lot of things going on
Oh, about
the Skeens and her, and do you see that?
No, I didn't see
No,
it.
no.
I just
What's the tea?
She
on
posted a little picture. We were dissecting
Where's
it in the shop the other day. She had a Pirates hat on. And there was things on the internet saying that she was in Bradenton where the Pirates, thing is. And then if you zoom in, there was a little Marucci glove on the table that she took the thing at. And then people were matching it up saying that it was his. Like, it was all over the internet, that it was a tasteful thing on her part saying that she was dating.
How'd that glove get there?
Yeah, Skeens. Marucci glove in
maybe
Florida
look,
with the Bradenton
look,
hat.
I heard
She's at the
she
beach
was,
in Florida.
Just so happens to be in the picture.
Well, I heard she's a sports memorabilia collector.
Oh, that's what
Yeah,
it
that's
is.
what I heard. That's what I
I
heard.
usually
She
collect probably got it at
gloves, too.
auction.
That's right.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I think he gave it to her. He's like, hey, you've done
Right,
really
right.
a
We
lot
were
for
both LSU.
Yeah,
Yep,
Here's
exactly.
a
That's
sign
what
this
it
glove.
was.
I'm gonna give
Yep,
it to you, and so
exactly.
it's gonna be worth a lot of
It's
money
in
one
her
day. It's a
collection.
good investment on her.
Exactly.
I wish he
That's
would have
smart.
just gave
Very
that glove
good.
to Thatcher. That's what he was
That's
doing before.
Oh,
right?
what if that's Thatcher's glove?
Need it for next
Wow,
year.
that's a
Get
good
some
point.
magic, right?
Well, I don't think Thatcher's in Bradenton. He's from California. Why
Can
would
he go
be in
pick up the
Bradenton?
glove? You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and skip that whole conversation. You know what?
Either way, that's a
with
power couple. If
That's what I'm
if it's the
saying.
case.
That's great.
That's a power
A
couple.
lot of
I'm happy
speculation.
with
It's just
both of them.
speculation, but I thought it would be
He
good
made a
to
lot
throw
of
it
money.
in. Yeah, throw it in the mix.
He's not going
Just
to pitch
talk
this
about
year,
it.
right? I would imagine he's not going to throw one inning in the minor leagues.
I don't think so.
He shouldn't. He's thrown more innings in this year than he's ever done in his
You're
career.
right. That's what I was wondering what they were going to do with him, but
If the Pirates were in the playoffs, or they're going to
That's
make
what
the
I'm thinking.
playoffs,
Yeah,
I think that they
maybe.
would have pitched him
Yeah.
at the bullpen
Correct.
in September.
Correct.
They are not going to make the playoffs. They're out of the playoffs, so I don't think he's going to pitch.
What
for no
about
reason.
what's your guys' speculation with Cruz? They started him in the.
Did you see what he did?
Yeah, 3 for 3.
Okay, but
3
first of all,
pitches.
the league that he's in, and you can attest to this, and you can attest. Well, I don't know if you played in the
I
Gulf
didn't
Coast
play in
League.
the GCL, but
So
whatever
I
it is.
played in the GCL for 4 days. Like when you sign, you go
Right,
there to
right.
like kind of get some.
Just to get acclimated to pro.
The
football,
hardest
like,
league in the
yeah.
world. It is because it is 18-year-olds
Throwing 103.
103
At
miles an
your
hour
ear
at
hole.
your head, and then dotted up, and then at your head, and then dotted up. They don't know
Yeah.
where it's going. They're
Right.
there for a reason, right? They're
Right.
young guys. They're trying to figure it out. And so he went 3 for 3 on 3 pitches. He swung at the first fastball. All
Somebody
three
must
pitches. It's
somebody
like,
must have
that's
told
the
him,
way
hey,
to do it.
Yeah.
That's the
get
way to do
it early and often.
Hey,
this
you see
league,
one
'cause
in
you-
the zone, swing.
That is
bro.
the way to do it. Either
Swing.
you're swinging or you're not swinging.
It's kind of the motto
Right.
through at least low A, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So I think he's in Fredericksburg now.
Oh, so that's what I was wondering.
He
I was
got
like,
called
he's got
up
to have
to-
a plan already.
Yeah,
like,
so he got called up to Fredericksburg. I'd
Was that
imagine.
low A?
I think that's low A,
Yeah.
right?
I don't know. Never. I don't
No,
know.
Frederick. When I was playing, it was high A, but they were also for
No,
the
that
Orioles.
was Frederick.
Oh,
that was just Frederick,
Yes,
Maryland
right,
for the
Frederick.
Orioles.
They
Frederick
they
Keys, yeah.
realigned all the
Yeah.
minor league stuff. So I don't. Let's just say it's A-ball.
Yeah.
Right. So
They-
I think he's going to be there. I think that he may end up this year high A,
High A-ball, yeah.
and
I say
then next
I-
year start Double A, and then be in the big leagues by the end of the next year. That's what I
I could
think.
see that. I could see that.
That's what I think.
I was saying that the fact that they started him in the GCL, I was like, that's all planned. Like there was like a thing, and then maybe he ends at Double A this year,
He had
where
what,
it's like,
one game?
huh?
He had one game.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
Just
so
like, hey, this is the routine of pro ball. You get to the field, you do this, get your feet
Yeah.
wet, go up to Double A. I didn't know where they were going to send him. I was like, if they send him to Double A, maybe he'll be in the big leagues this year, and they just want to get his feet wet. But
Where's the Pirates? Where the Pirates Double A team? Where's the Double A team? I know the Triple A team's in Indianapolis.
Double A when
Altoona.
I was playing was Altoona.
It's Altoona. It's still in Altoona.
It is.
Okay, so
it
Double
was
A is
Pennsylvania.
Altoona.
Yeah, yeah.
Altoona, Pennsylvania. Yeah.
But I don't know.
Well,
That's
is
the
it even
Eastern
Eastern League anymore? Or
I don't
Yeah,
know.
'cause
I
that's
have
where
no
Erie,
idea.
Altoona,
But it
Erie, all
was-
those teams. I don't know
It
where
used to be
they're-
the
I
Eastern
don't
League
know.
when we were playing. Yeah.
I never played in Eastern League, so
You didn't.
Shortly.
Oh, that's right. You got traded to Tigers.
I got
that's
traded to
right.
the Tigers.
Yeah.
So you did what was the Montgomery, right? Biscuits.
Yeah, Southern League. That one's
Southern
tough, too.
League.
That was a grind.
That's hot.
Hot, very hot.
Because it's all like Biloxi, right? Like
Yeah, well, luckily we were right in the middle.
Montgomery
we were in
and-
Montgomery, and our furthest trip either way was 6 hours. So we were right in the
Oh,
middle.
that's not bad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
we had
yeah.
to go from Jacksonville to Jackson, Tennessee. That's a 13-hour drive. That was not fun.
You ever play in
Sheesh.
Chattanooga?
huh? Love me some Chattanooga.
Chattanooga's cool. I never played there, but
They got
that
some bad
city is
pub
fun.
recently, so if you,
Really?
Why?
For what?
yeah, if you,
You can't talk about it? We gotta go
Yeah.
Google
Okay, let's not talk about
Go
it.
Google it. I saw your face. You're like, I'm not talking about it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna bring that one
I'm
up.
gonna put that in the show notes. We'll put the link. Google Chattanooga.
But yeah, I think AA next year.
Yeah.
That's where we'll start. We'll
I
go to
think-
big league camp. We'll
That's what I
probably have a
think.
good
Yeah,
camp.
yeah.
AA.
Yep.
I think we'll end up in the big leagues next year.
Yeah, May or June.
Yeah, I think by the time you see All-Star break next year,
I think
you'll
so,
be
too. I think
At
so,
least
too.
knocking on the door.
I think you're
Does
gonna have.
Skeen start in the big leagues next year?
I don't see. I've said this. I don't think he should throw one inning in minor league baseball.
I agree.
I don't think that's worth him throwing one inning in minor league baseball.
I do. And the only reason I do is just
Ooh,
for the
I
same
wanna hear
reason.
it. I wanna
Well,
hear it.
it's the same reason why you just said what you said about Cruz. Like, I do think there is an acclimation period. Like, you can be there and actually not. Like, it's different from when you are. Imagine when you go back to when you came into pro ball and you're actually just there, and obviously you didn't play maybe the first day or so, or however long it was.
Yeah.
Like, there's a difference between being there and kind of seeing how it goes and then actually participating.
Yeah.
And then getting the turnaround.
Well,
So I could see it being 3 starts.
Right, but I get it from our end. Right now, he's a starter, so you can attest more to this. Like, does that matter so much for a starter? Like, if you already know what your routine is, does it really matter as a starter to really get acclimated that way? Or if you already know your routine, and your routine's your routine, and wherever you go.
I guess right things are different. When I played ball, like they made me do their routine, so it didn't matter what my routine was.
Right.
It was
And
like
those teams are specific too, so you don't know.
exactly.
How they go about it.
That's the biggest factor. Is like, are the Pirates going to be like, hey, dude, you throw 102 and we trust you and go do your thing, or hey, this is the way we do things here with the Pirates, and this is the way you're going to do it. So you got to get acclimated.
Seems like the Pirates do that. That's why they stink.
Yeah,
Right.
but also,
That's what I'm nervous about.
But
That's what I'm
also, how
nervous
much
about.
stock do they put into? Hey man, like, you know, this is what AA hitters do that maybe all
Right.
college hitters didn't
Right,
do. We
right,
want
right,
you to
right,
experience that.
right,
This is
right.
what an experienced AAA hitter does that college hitters can
But to
do.
me-
I want you to experience that. You learn at the best of the big leagues, 100%. But I do think the biggest thing a lot of these teams are scared of, and which honestly they should be, is if you get up there at a very, very, very fast pace and you fail a lot, probably for the first time ever really in your life, how do you respond to that? Because that's a tough spot to respond to that. Now, am I saying that I don't think you should be up there as young if you're like as a young player if you're really good? Hell no. Like, I'm all about like that being able to push a guy up there. But there is this is different because it's not basketball, man. It's not football where you excel at a 60 to 70% rate. So like when you're not excelling, it's still above 50.
Yeah.
If you're good in baseball, obviously pitching's different, but like 30 to 40, whatever percent, and then all of a sudden when you're bad, like it feels really bad. It's a
So
little
maybe AAA for a month.
different. if that maybe.
I don't even. For me,
I just don't think he needs
I think
it.
it's gonna throw
this is my reasoning is the difference to me between a AAA or I should say minor league pitcher and a major league pitcher are the misses, right?
Right.
How much you're missing. So to me, he's already accomplished that. He's a major league pitcher from that perspective. To me, and this is just my experience, right? The difference between AA, AAA, and major leagues weren't the biggest difference for me.
Yeah.
It was the strike zone. It was
Right. Yeah.
It was understanding how to pitch to certain guys and how they approach things. So that to me is like get up to the major leagues and get that because the AA guys and the AAA guys are not gonna.
I agree with. I'm on the same page with you. I get it.
See-
I don't think to your point, I don't think you're saying it's because he needs experience in the minor leagues as far as competition.
No, yeah,
It's for, hey, let's get your routine situated before you get to the minor
I do
leagues.
think. Here's the thing. I do think there's a little bit to this.
I think they should do that this year and then be like
Yes,
next year
I
go.
agree.
I think there's exactly. I think you would be better if you actually got him out there this year, especially since you have so much time.
Do
But
3 innings a start.
If he doesn't throw this year, I do think that first off, I don't really love the notion that spring training is guys just out there just completely working on stuff. Like, bro, we've been competing since you were kids, bro. Like, you get on the field and it's just programmed in you to compete.
Yeah.
Whether you're working on something or not, I think it's kind of a cop-out to kind of say it that way in a way. But that's how it's kind of said. That's how it's kind of used, especially unless you're literally going out there and, hey, I'm only throwing 2 of my 4 pitches. Okay, you're working on something. I understand that, right? But he's going to throw in camp, right? And I'm pretty sure he's probably going to throw for the duration of camp or however it goes because he's not on the roster, so he doesn't really have to go down at any point.
Right.
So if he's going to throw in camp, they're going to get a good chance to get him to see how it feels to get out there. But I do think there is just a slight difference. Not enough to where it's like, hey, you were terrible and all of a sudden you're great. But I do think there's a slight difference, especially for a guy that's trying to prove something, right? That you go out and you do it in a couple regular season games before you move or wherever we want you to be or kind of whatever. Like, I do think there's a little, like, just a slight difference, right? Like, and I think maybe you take the approach to use that. Maybe. And you could also bypass and just say, nah, man, here's the big leagues. I just don't think
it's the Pirates, though, so
I
you
think
never know.
that's what it is. It's more the organization. Even with Cruz, too, I think his thing is you know this, right? As hitters, like, to me, a good big leaguer, even in the minor leagues, I'm like, damn, that's a good pitch. Like, most minor leaguers are swinging at that. The difference is big leaguers know the zone, and that, to me, was always what I noticed about Dylan was, like, he could play in the big leagues right now because he knows the zone. He's not swinging at bad pitches. He's disciplined. So it's like, if I know Scott Boras too, Scott's going to be calling the Washington Nationals and be like, yo, his biggest challenge needs to be in the big leagues. Send him to the big leagues. He needs to learn there. That's it. So, like, I think he's going to get pushed quick.
I think he's going to, I agree. He's 1,000% going to get pushed quick.
But I also think that it's different for a position player than it is for a pitcher, right? It's not about him not being able to do it. It's about, hey, okay, I want you to go here. I want you to prove to me that you're able to play 6 days in a row, 7 days in a row.
That's it.
You know, without keep going.
You're
like,
right.
hey, you've gone 0 for 3, you've gone 0 for 7, now you're 0 for 10, and you may be hitting balls hard, but you don't have an off day anymore.
And you got to get up tomorrow.
And you got to get up tomorrow, and you got to do it again. You're going to be hitting 3-hole, and you're going to be playing center field. You have to be able to show me that you're able to be accustomed to that, and then get up to the big leagues.
See, and that's the thing. Like, you're giving it to me about, like, the physical side. I think, personally, the biggest jump in minor league ball is what was always, like, it was pretty much mandatory as we came through ball because you were never moving that quickly.
Right.
But the move right now and the wave right now, which I think also has a little bit to do with how you see people struggle batting average-wise in the big leagues, is guys are getting up there so quick to where they're never in a place long enough in the minors to actually get figured out. Think about Dylan Cruz this year. Think about Cruz this year. He hit 600 forever. And then all of a sudden, he struggled for a period, right? And ended up obviously having an unbelievable season. But that struggle came after 40 to 50 games. Right now in the minors, if you're good, if you're a Cruz and they pay you that much money and you're good for 40 games,
you're going to the
next spot.
Yeah.
Right.
They're not going to let you struggle there and then all of a sudden the numbers drop and it doesn't look as good. So then now those guys are finally struggling for the first time.
When the limelight, when everything
is
the big
leagues.
Everything
in the big league level. And I think that they're going to push him to that. I just think that that's the biggest adjustment to me, is when they finally figure out where your holes are, what you struggle with, and they keep attacking that, how do you bounce back on the other side of it?
Yep.
And I think that's something that a lot of minor leaguers today, they don't ever get a chance to kind of figure out until they're literally until you add the third deck and it's the brightest of lights.
And it's
go ahead.
Go ahead.
And even for me,
and then when you don't,
you're gone. It's over. Exactly.
Now that won't happen with Cruz because they got 9 million reasons as to why they won't do that.
Correct.
Right? But like, that's usually how the game is right now.
And that was the way it was for me. It was like I dominated the minor leagues, and then it was major leagues that were like, oh, he's not a major league pitcher, right? And it was like they figured shit out real quick about me.
What did you hit your last year in AAA?
300.
With how many homers?
Like 15. And 30.
Did you get a call next year?
I didn't get called that year. I had to wait till the next year.
Like you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, and that's kind of how the game is. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So
and
like
so,
just stuff like that.
I don't think so. I can look at it both ways, right? You look at Jared Kelenic from the Mariners, right?
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to bring you up to the big leagues, and we're going to let you figure it out. He didn't figure it out that year, right? He hit 150. Right. For most of the year, he was struggling. He was a head case. They sent him back down, and they brought him back up, and he's starting to play better. But then you flip the script, right? You got Austin Riley for the Braves. They bring him up to the big leagues. They move him up really quick. He struggled his rookie year. They stayed with him. He figured some stuff out. He worked on it. The next year he was rookie of the year because he was still kind of labeled a rookie, right? He hit 30-something home runs, and now he's an all-star third baseman for the Braves, right? That's an example. Was that
200 M's?
Right.
Seriously.
A lot of money.
And that's an example of a guy, okay, you're a young guy. We're going to let you figure it out in the big leagues, but I think it's the mental capacity of each player, right? I think each player is different.
You're absolutely right,
hey, we believe that you can handle it mentally, we're going to let you figure it out in the big leagues. If we don't believe that you can handle it mentally, we're going to send you back down, and then we want you to come up when you're confident so that you kind of have that thing rolling. I think Dylan has the mental capacity to figure it out in the big leagues. I think so that he's going to be okay, even though the microscope is on him.
The crazy part about it is too, sometimes like people gotta understand, sometimes situations matter. Like you talk about the Austin Riley situation. Like some teams understand how to bring you up as a young player and where to surround you and who to hit around you. Like some of these teams will bring up some of these young guys And whether they're a good team or not, they'll hit him in front of the catcher who's hitting 180
Yeah.
and
Right.
expect for him to get pitches to hit.
Right.
Well, it's like, hey, why am I going to throw to you when I can just make this dude behind you have to
exactly.
hit?
You can
He's
tell-
not going to hit, so
Yeah.
what are we doing here?
You
Not
can
giving
tell
any good
teams that
pitches.
set their young players up for success, right? Like,
Right.
Just because you're a first rounder or a first overall pick and you're a young guy and you're in the big leagues doesn't mean you need to be hitting 3 or 4 hole or 2 hole or leadoff. Maybe you need to hit 7 or 8. Hit behind some of these other guys to where, hey, we want you just kind of get used to this, figure it out. Maybe you hit 9 hole.
Yeah.
Since there's no pitcher anymore, you hit 9 hole and you just have the leadoff guy protecting you. Or maybe they think, hey, you know what, we think you're good enough and you have enough juice that we're going to put you in the 2 hole. And we're going to put you and we're going to sandwich you between 2 all-stars. And so now it doesn't matter if you get on base or not on base because you're going to get pitches. And if you're hot, we're going to move you up. And if not, we're just going to let you. It doesn't matter if you're on base. We're not going to win or lose because of what you do. Now that's the advantage of having a good team. That's the advantage of getting drafted by a team like the Dodgers, right? You're getting developed, and they don't need these young kids right away because they have a veteran team. The Braves now, you can kind of ease these young guys in there. But some other teams, like, you need these young guys to play, and that's a hard.
I think that's the special ingredient that you could never account for in a draft situation. And honestly, as you go through the minors, like, you just trying to learn and understand who a player is as a person and how they will respond to being on that biggest stage matters, right?
Yep.
Like, you may have a kid that has all of the talent in the world and he is light years above kids his age, but maybe mentally he still feels like he needs to prove himself. So then now you put him up in that situation and he feels like he has to do more than what he already is. Yep. And then that becomes the ingredient that makes him fail. When all you should have done really is, instead of putting him in the 3 hole and, hey, you're the man, go prove it. Hey, how about you just mix in a 6 or 7?
Tell you what, we got
we need to build
a big group in
like,
here. I like
just,
that's some energy.
Stuff
in
like
this
that
house.
that's what's hard to figure out.
And this is every sport, though. It's not just baseball.
But
baseball,
it's real prevalent in baseball.
It's very prevalent in baseball. It's very magnified, but that's any sport, right? Any team that puts that young player in a situation to succeed, I feel like that player jumps to that next level a lot quicker. Now, there's certain few guys who you can just plug in and, like, hey, they're studs right away, right? But, like, in football, you don't want to have to put a guy in there that you're not confident is going to perform right now, right? You just don't want to force him into a situation that he's not ready for.
And how much is it a confidence boost, too, when a team is like, yo, it don't matter if you fuck up. Like, you're our guy. Like, you know what I'm saying, too? Like, just being like, hey, this is your plan. Success is relative, right? Like, we want you to take good at bats. We want you to do this. We want you to do this. We want you to be able to command this pitch, that pitch, whatever, right? It don't matter. Like, to me, that's the ability of, like, a good organization to be like, hey, this is your path. We're going to keep you on it. And that mental space is really, really important, I think, to, like, the success of an organization and their top picks and all that.
I really believe the biggest cop-out that you hear across professional sports is when it's said as a blanket statement, oh, it's a different game. Because at the end of the day, it's not, dude.
No.
It's not at all.
It's actually the same game that you played your whole life.
It's the same game.
Yeah.
It's finer.
Yeah.
It's a little quicker.
More things at stake.
cerebral.
Yeah, more things at stake.
Right? That's understanding that. But trying to say, hey, it's a different game, you can't play that game at this game, and not understanding how to, I guess, communicate to a younger player that I'm not asking you to go be anybody different. But there is things you're going to need to get better at. Like, the game's not any different. It's the same game. Yep. But you may have to make this read quicker. You may have to be smarter about what's going on here. You may have to play this play a little faster. But you're not playing a different game.
No.
You know, and I'm helping kids understand that, I think, is the biggest thing, as opposed to just telling them it's a different game up here and then walking away with the conversation. That's very confusing for a young kid.
I think one of the biggest things for, like, as a confidence booster for me when I was making my debut, and even going from LSU being drafted and going into pro ball, was I remember my agents, like, being like, hey, it's the same game. It's 60 feet, 6 inches. You're throwing the exact same ball that you did when you were 12 years old. Yeah. You know, like, once you made it to 60 feet, 6 inches. And he's like, it's the exact same game. There's just 50,000 people. There's more things. They're tracking more stats. It's going to be a little fast, like exactly what you said. You know, but it is the exact same game. So if you can keep that mindset, and the organization or the team or the personnel that facilitates that and puts you in that situation to succeed in that way, I think are the ones that do it the best. You know what I'm saying? For me, and I'm not making excuses of why my career went the way that it did. I'm not making excuses, but for a young kid to make it with Boston at the time that I was doing it, it was like, who do you think you are? You're special, or like, you know what I'm saying? Instead of, what if the organization was like, hey, look, we got some veteran guys there, but you're the dude. Like, come on up, don't worry about it. You're gonna fail, right? But it was like, yo, you got to do this. Otherwise, we got a $25 million man that you're trying to take the job from. It's like the odds are against you, homie, you know? And it was like, I don't know. And they never really facilitated, like, you're going to be up there tomorrow. It was like, yeah, in 10 years, you're going to be our guy. And it's like, as a kid, you're like, how do I get behind that, you know? I don't know. So teams that push you and do that shit and also allow you to make mistakes and be like, the fear of failure is okay. Is okay. You're going to learn from it.
See, like, I understand that because I relate that to – I can go back to my time with the Yankees where, like, I've heard a bunch of players be like, oh, I'd never play for them. They're too strict about stuff. That's fine. Like, I understand that. Some people like it the Oakland A's way where it's just show up and do whatever you want. I feel like that would be a Lloyd thing.
Yeah.
Just
Where do I
don't
sign?
be
He's
late.
like, that sounds
don't
great.
Don't be late,
Yeah.
play hard. That's
Yeah.
all they have.
All right,
well,
I'm
the
in.
Yankees
Yeah.
have obviously a lot of different
Right.
rules, right?
You can't have
and
one.
So, but the thing why I respected what they did is because I've seen a lot of other organizations, not just organizations I've been in. Like, it's a lot of organizations where it's, hey, you're in AA. I don't care if you're 35 or you're 25 or you're 19. On this AA team, you got to be clean shaven. The only thing you're allowed to do is have a mustache that ends at your socks have to be here, your pants have to be here. But if you get called up to the big leagues tomorrow, do whatever you want, kid. It doesn't matter.
Right.
And to me, I'm like, hey, look, if you're trying to have success at the highest level, then the reason why I respect what the Yankees do, and I think a reason why they've had a lot of success over the years, is because from the top down, they're expecting the same thing from all the players. The guy making $40 million, just like the last guy on the roster in the GCL league. Hey, bro, clean shaven or don't show up.
Exactly.
Something as simple as that. And if you make that understood organization-wide, I think you're sending a message that, hey, you're no different than that guy.
I never even thought about that perspective, but with the Red Sox, it was kind of like that. So it was like once you got to AA, it was like, oh, we can have a beard now.
This.
Yeah,
But it's
I can do
why?
this. Yeah,
We're playing the same
you're right.
game.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Like, it doesn't make any sense.
I never even thought about that from the psychological level of like, all right, I've kind of made it now. I can have this beard. I can do this. I can put my like guard down a little bit.
And imagine
Damn,
like
that's wild.
being places where that's
this
that's
is
worried
the
about.
standard. Yeah,
I've been places where I've seen guys who've been they got 5 years under their belt in the big leagues, and it literally like the last 5 years, and all of a sudden this year they're gonna start the year in AAA, and they're saying, hey man, dude, that beard that you're growing, it's nice.
Yeah,
Cut
but
it.
it's got to be gone.
It's just a AAA.
When you see, when you see the face.
What do you mean? Like, why does that matter?
That's wild.
What does that have to do with the game and the product that I'm going to put on the field today?
Yeah.
As long as my jersey's tucked in, as long as why do you care about how that's not going to make me perform any better? So my point is like, especially when you're like teams that sign guys that have that look, and you don't think that goes into their personality and their persona. And then now you're telling them to cut it, and you're asking them to essentially kind of be a different person.
Yeah, not embrace it.
That's a hurdle to jump for someone. And do you really care that much for it to possibly take away from what they're doing in their performance, or do you care about their performance more?
Right.
And I think sometimes a lot of situations across, not just baseball, maybe there's some other spots too, but definitely in baseball where that happens, and it's like, well, what are we really trying to get done here? Are we trying to get players better? Are we trying to grow and get a better organization for guys that are major league ready? Or are we trying to separate the two because we want to make you feel like you're nowhere
less.
near there?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what's different.
Yeah.
So I've seen situations where things like that happen, but you're 100% right, man. I think if you make everyone feel like we're doing the same thing, there's a better chance.
And almost like just even at the lower level, I don't know, just encourage you to be yourself, like that kind of shit. Like it really goes a long way.
That's what Kim Mulkey's doing.
That's what I mean. Yeah, we talked about that the other day.
Yeah.
It's like embracing the changes, embracing times. Like that to me was like the biggest disconnect that I had with the Red Sox was like, all right, it's 2015, 2014. Like I know the way that things were with baseball, but it's also like, it's all right to change and like be different. I think it's different now.
I think that's what I
now.
think Jay's done a really good job of it just by like literally at the latter end of our career, like we're able to go in there and just kind of see how these guys work. But I didn't realize it at all. But even when we played, like when Paul was here, he allowed you to be you.
He wanted you to go have fun.
He
be with
wanted
the boys
he
and
wanted
do
everybody to
stuff.
be clean shaven. That was kind of his thing. Whatever, no big deal. But as far as for how you went about the work, how you went about doing what you did, hey, find what works for you, and I'm gonna let you be you, right? And you got to pro ball, and some of those things aren't the same. They're not equal across the board everywhere, and that's an adjustment.
Yeah, I'm glad baseball is going to the way they're going. I'm glad that all sports in general are going to. What are you laughing at?
Foster.
He's
Foster.
still here?
Yeah, he was making a little. He made it, poked his head
Little
in right
cameo
here.
around the corner. I'm glad that all sports are kind of going to that model. Obviously, I think that there's a place for discipline. There's a place for structure and rules in a sense, but you also can't have every player be the same person,
Yeah,
right? Like
no.
you say, hey, this isn't the model of what we need to be, and every player needs to fit this model. Like, no. There's a broad outline, and you got to stay in these parameters, but you still can have your own personality. I think that's
Absolutely.
what creates the best type of culture. That's
Absolutely.
what creates a winning team and those types of things. So, I'm looking forward to watching those guys grow. I'm looking forward to watching, the involvement of baseball and sports and just in general. I guess Luke's not coming on. So,
He's done?
I don't know. I mean, he hadn't.
We lost him.
I guess we lost him.
That's all right.
It's okay. It happens.
Sometimes
we'll
people
have him
lose
on.
track of days. It's
Yeah,
part of
listen.
it. Hey, one of the funniest things. So the first time I ever, Matt Moscona, he's got his live show, AFR, all that. The first time I ever filled in for him, I was doing the whole show
That's
for
hard, Coach. 3 hours?
Bro, 3 hours.
By yourself?
Yeah, by myself. So of course, I scheduled 15-minute phone calls, 20, you guys all helped me out, all that stuff. So my first one was this guy named Bob Tewksbury. He was my sports.
I know.
Yeah.
It was a hitting guy too, right?
Yeah, he was a sports psychologist
Yeah,
or whatever.
right.
Anyway, he was supposed to come on and be my first one as soon as we started the show. So I started the show, blah, blah, blah. And Musa was looking at me over there, and he's like, bro, I can't get in touch with him. I'm like, all right. So this was my first segment. I'm like, I just had to wing it. I had to wing it. Luckily, Terrio saved my ass. He must have been listening, and he calls in. He's like, hey, bro, what's going on? And we just, he saved my ass for
that's
15
huge.
minutes. So
That's huge.
that happens. People forget. They lose track of time, all that stuff.
Lloyd, you still with us?
I
Still
bet
with
you
us?
were sweating over there in that chair.
Bro, the lights are on.
That's
I'm
right.
sweating. I'm looking at Musso and being like,
Hey.
I'm texting him and I'm looking him in the eyes, but I'm texting him and be like, what do I do?
Hey, if you are sweating though, it's
Oh.
been hot. You should drink a Heineken Silver.
Ah.
Yeah, Heineken
nice.
Silvers. 95 calories, 4%
95?
alcohol. It's very
Cut
good.
it through the lane
Look
like
at
that, like
it.
butter.
Like that. Little Euro step
Like
and just lay it
butter.
up in there.
I've had in my cup the
That's
whole
what you had in your cup
time.
the whole time. Listen, we have beverages in here. We have some Heineken
I had some
Silvers.
in my cup.
Iced.
but
Yeah. But you
spilled
dropped
it?
it.
Yeah,
Now
it
it's
was
clean. Now it's in the
Aisle
napkins.
5, not looking good.
Heineken Silver, our OG sponsor, OG partner, 95 calories, 4% alcohol. I know people kind of turn their nose up a little bit to Heineken in general, but Heineken Silver, if you haven't tried it, don't knock it till you try it. It's actually really good. It's really refreshing. It is their version of their light beer, right? I don't want to give another brand name. I don't want to compare.
It's
it
the
to a
Heineken
brand
light
name.
beer,
It's
yeah.
the Heineken light beer. It's really good. They are actually having a huge push nationally on their commercials. Football season's right around the corner. Tailgate's about to happen.
It's a good time to
Doesn't
push.
seem
Heine
like
Light.
you're gonna get much relief from the sun here in the next 2 months. So why don't you cool yourself down with a nice cold ice down Heineken Silver?
And some shade.
Hey,
I had to squeeze it in there.
Hey, but do you remember last episode that we did? It was so good. Whatever. It was the best ad read I'd ever heard. Like live.
Oh, yeah, what
organic.
did I say?
I don't know, but it was great.
It just had
Yeah,
to
we're
taste
not gonna.
organic.
Yeah, we don't
Came
even
out
have to
great.
recap it. It was so
We'll
good
cut
in
it.
the
We'll
moment.
cut it and make that a commercial.
Yeah,
That's
that's
it.
100%. You
On
need
our
to make
show.
that. Yeah,
No
that's gotta
doubt.
be a thing for you.
No doubt. Well, we just talked an hour about a lot of different things,
I
right?
sent Luke 2 emails.
It's okay. It's,
Never
look,
done
it's,
that before.
it's okay.
He said emails. Look at
It's
him.
okay.
Yeah.
Did you try the text message or FaceTime or
We'll get him
Snapchat?
back
He's
on.
younger.
We'll get him
He's
back on
younger.
at
We got to
some
do the
point.
younger
I don't
generation.
have-
Lord, you've been
nervous
quiet over there.
number.
He's flustered. He didn't.
He
yeah.
jumped in with that Ben Roethlisberger thing, and he just
Oh,
kind of
yeah, I know.
just kind of got out of the water since
No.
then.
Out of the show.
I read some more about it, and it gets worse. The cop that interviewed him.
Oh no, we
took a
didn't mean to
picture.
go back to it.
We didn't mean for you to elaborate on
didn't know
the
if y'all wanted to
I was
situation.
like, wait, you wanted more about that?
No, actually,
I know
didn't.
everything. Yeah, I know
I did
everything.
more about that.
But if you're gonna set me back up,
He's like, I've been waiting to talk about this for more. Yeah, for a while.
Oh my God.
You want to talk a little football?
I do.
Well, we are
Look, you are the
It's my time. We gotta take a bathroom break.
you are the football insider. Actually, Joe,
It's the real football.
Hey,
insider.
I'm
the
gonna
football
I'm gonna pass my
yeah,
mic on.
come
Let's
up
do
in
it.
on the show. Give me talk some football.
Let's go.
Put you on the spot.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, he just heard Renato's story about getting hot in the chair. He's like, why don't you come on the show?
So this is our college football expert, Joe Mitchell.
Expert's
He's,
a strong word.
Okay, college football
Analyst.
enthusiast.
Insider.
Enthusiast. What's your opinion? What's your take on the realignment and the expansions, and like how long do you think until USC and those top tier UCLA? Well, UCLA almost didn't have sports for a minute, right? Like I feel like the Pac-12 right now is USC is their saving grace. That's the only team left that like is kind of keeping them together. How long until they're gone?
USC?
Yeah.
USC's gone. They're in the Big Ten in 2024.
USC already announced it. That's right.
Yeah.
That's
USC
right.
and
That's
UCLA.
right. That's right. So they're done. So the Pac-12
They were like the first one announced.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
so
were
Pac-
the first one. They were. yeah.
Pac-12's done.
Yeah, it's done.
Like there's no saving it.
No. So, obviously news broke today that Oregon and Washington are going to make the jump to the Big Ten as well. I feel like that was pretty easy to see coming. With so a couple days ago, or really a couple weeks ago, whenever Dan Lanning at Oregon, the head coach, signed his extension, they worked a clause in there that he could not break the contract, accept another job without owing Oregon $20 million. So when you read into the fine print of what was really going on over there,
So
it was
buy out the other way.
pretty clear to see that they were not going to remain in the Pac-12.
Wow. Okay. So the Pac-12 is gone. Now you have the Big 12, you have the Big 10, and you have the SEC as three super conferences right now. You still have the ACC, right? ACC. What's going to happen there? Do you think they're going to have to start? Because now the SEC is going to have to go out and get some more teams too.
Yeah.
Because there's Oregon State. All these other teams are going to start going. So now the SEC has 16 teams after Texas and Oklahoma comes in.
Yeah, the SEC will be at 16. I believe the Big Ten will be at 20.
Right.
But
And the Big 12 is probably going to be.
they just added they added the 4 that are going to be there this year, and then they're bringing in Colorado next year, and then there's talks of Stanford and Cal.
Right. So they're going to be at 20 plus.
Yeah.
So the SEC is kind of behind at that point. So.
Now there's talks of Clemson and Florida State.
Right. So the ACC is going to die too, you think?
So their media rights contract goes until 2036.
This is why he's the college football enthusiast, because he knows all the details.
So they're locked in until 2036 as a conference. But Florida State is putting together some sort of fund. They're trying to crowdfund the buyout. And then at that point, it's going to be open season for Florida State and Clemson.
I think Florida State going to the SEC makes the most sense.
Well, I think
No
I think
doubt.
it's fair to say that the SEC is not worried about strength in numbers. It's literally
No, right. You want the high quality.
yeah. I don't think they're worried about.
Tallahassee's closer than Gainesville,
Yeah.
right? Like to Baton Rouge or
Yeah.
to that area.
I guess
So-
I'm just saying the SEC's at 16 and Big 10 is at 20. I don't think they're necessarily worried about keeping up in numbers.
So what happens to
Right.
the other schools that aren't as elite as some of those, but they're still in the ACC? Like, I guess. I mean, give me an example.
Louisville,
of those.
North
Like,
Carolina,
Yeah, right. I guess North Carolina would be a good addition because of basketball. Duke would be a good addition because of basketball. And honestly, Duke's not terrible at football. Like,
I
they're
said
better
there's
than
some of
Vanderbilt,
those
you know
some
what
of
I
those schools in the ACC are probably a real draw for the SEC, and it has little to do with football at this point.
Yeah. If you are looking at just football, so I went through all the details a couple days ago, but if you're just looking at football, adding the Big Ten, adding Oregon and Washington, and then if Florida State and Clemson were to get added to either the SEC or the Big Ten, with the addition of those two schools, those two conferences, the Big Ten and the SEC, would now own every single college football national championship since 2001.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Wow. That's huge. I think the Big 12's safe now. I think that they've done the things that they needed to do to make them keep themselves relevant. They do lose Texas and they do lose Oklahoma, but they're getting USC. That's a huge get for them.
Yeah. Wait, who?
Big 12.
The USC is going to the Big Ten.
Big 10. That's true.
Big 12.
Yeah.
So who's the big get for the Big 12?
So this year, the Big 12 added Cincinnati, Houston,
Right, but those-
UCF,
yeah,
and BYU.
Like, bro, we got so many cross
Yeah.
country deals that don't make any sense to me.
It's no longer location.
Can't be SEC anymore. We can't call it the Southeastern Conference. Like,
Yeah.
it's not just Southeast anymore. Well, I guess it still is right now.
Yeah.
But it's going away from that. Like, is Clemson considered in the Southeast? No. I guess maybe.
I mean, they're in
other
South
people
Carolina
like-
with
Yeah, I guess.
the University of
I
South
guess you're
Carolina.
right. I guess you're right. Yeah, I guess you're
Yeah,
right.
and
Same thing
We're
with
the
Texas.
only one that kept. We're the only one.
Oklahoma's the
SEC's
one. That's the hard one. To
Yeah,
kinda throw in there.
Oklahoma's the one that doesn't really make a ton of sense Southeastern Conference, but it doesn't matter
But
now.
you got Missouri out there as well.
So you're telling me.
Very true.
So you're telling me the Big Ten is going to have USC, Washington and Oregon, Penn State. So now USC's got to go all the way across to Penn State. That's a lot of travel.
they're gonna have to do it Wednesday for a basketball game. Like it's not.
Yeah,
just,
yeah, right. That's not just football. Football is
Right.
easy because it's one game a
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
Basketball, you're going middle of the week to across the country.
And they have to be back for school the next day.
That's what those TV rights are for. Pay that, buddy.
No doubt. Bigger planes,
There you go.
better
Yeah.
planes, faster planes.
Gotta find a
Elon
way.
Musk, give more
Gotta
money.
find a way to
Ship
pay
it
that
across the
hotel bill.
country.
We got to be there all week. No,
Bring my tutor with me.
All right.
And they can gamble in the games. I mean, they've been doing it anyway, so they can make a little side money. Can you believe how many people are doing it? It's unreal. I thought it would be like one or two stories.
I'm not surprised. I'm really not. It's just it's one of those things. It's like, oh, here goes another one.
Well, I just I couldn't imagine being
You
like.
would. Let me tell you something, Lloyd. If there's one thing I know about you is if you played college sports right now, you would 1,000% be putting in parlays on other teams.
And Lloyd honestly would.
Oh yeah, because I wouldn't be starting.
Yeah, but he wouldn't do it.
See, like, there goes the justification right there.
He wouldn't do it secretly. He'd be calling right
No,
away.
he'd be asking dudes on the team, hey man, what you think about? Hey bro, we're not supposed to be doing that.
How's
He
that
don't
ankle
care.
feel?
He don't care. Look.
Okay, so outside of the big teams that everybody's talking about, because I want to talk college football right now. I don't want to talk just LSU. I don't want to talk just SEC. I want you to give me the landscape of college football this year going into the season. Give me a team that nobody's really, really talking much about. You think that's gonna like kind of make a pretty deep run.
That nobody's really talking about. So some people are talking about this team, but I don't think they're giving them enough love. Washington. Washington returns.
Because they got their quarterback.
Michael Penix Jr. led the country
for like the
in passing
15th
yards
year. I
last
feel
year.
like he's been there
So
forever.
he actually,
like
it's funny.
Year senior or something like that.
He started at Indiana.
Right.
Went over to Washington, and it's funny they're going back to the Big Ten.
Yeah.
But they got him coming back, and then the last several seasons, it's always been Ohio State's got the best receiving room. They likely still do this year in terms of depth.
Yeah.
But Washington's 1-2 punch is no joke.
Who are those guys?
Romo Dunes and Justin McMillan.
These are
First
return
rounders?
starters from last year?
Yeah, they're two return starters. Both were north of 850 yards last year. So solid receivers. I want to say Michael Penix Jr. he's listed as the second quarterback in the Pac-12. He's also listed as the second in the country. Caleb Williams is in the Pac-12.
Yeah, right.
So that guy's serious. That offense is going to be really good, and they've upgraded a lot on defense in the defensive backfield
I
as
wonder
well.
what kind of road games they got this year. What's that road schedule look
I
like?
don't know their schedule.
Like, are they at USC or are they at some other tough teams? Because that's usually ends up being the telltale a little bit.
A home game at University of Washington is awesome.
Yeah.
Everybody's on the lake. Everybody's tailgating on the lake. Like it's pretty sick up there to go up there. But their whole thing is they're good, and they play a team that they need to beat, and they end up falling a couple times, and then once they lose that big game, they get upset, and then they end up going 9-3, and it's like, well.
And then another one of their whole things is that they're not named USC, and they start games at 10 o'clock everywhere else.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that doesn't help them either.
I don't even watch the USC games at 10 o'clock.
But if
I'm coming in from
I agree
walk-ons watching LSU games.
I agree
I'm
with
tired.
you. But if you look up in week 9 and USC's 9-0, chances are you're like, oh, it's probably real. If you looked up in week 9 and Washington's 9-0, you're like, who have they played?
Right.
What have they
point.
played? So like, it doesn't help them that they don't have a huge name and they play so late, so no one really sees them.
Yeah. Well, we have week 0 is the week before us.
Do we have a week? Who is
Is there a week?
zero?
There's
has
always
to
a
be.
week.
Yeah, there's a
0
couple
now.
games. I think Notre Dame and Northwestern play in Ireland. So
That
there's
sounds awful.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Northwestern didn't cancel that.
I just did those
It might
flights.
be
Those are
Navy.
not fun.
It might be Notre Dame and Navy. Notre Dame plays
So
week
that's
0.
the only.
In Ireland.
That's great for Notre Dame.
Yeah, obviously.
It's great for Notre Dame. They're
It's
gonna
not a fun flight to have
Home field
for a
advantage.
football
yeah,
game.
home for a lot of Catholics.
Yeah.
I wonder if anybody in Ireland knows about Notre Dame.
They do.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
I don't think they watch a lot of football, but I imagine once they see the logo and
Something
everything,
tells me
pretty
when
sure
they
they
put this
know.
game
They'll be like,
together
I'm
that it wasn't going to
definitely
be empty.
Who else plays in that week? Anybody know?
Hawaii plays somebody. It's a lot of small
A lot of
games.
no
Just getting your feet wet.
It just gets.
So there's
gets
no,
the
like-
juices going.
Yeah,
so
There's no
yeah.
potential top 10 matchups like last year.
so that's in 3 weeks. That's the week 0 is in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Late August.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 3 weeks.
now,
That Thursday probably is that first game of the season. Usually. Oh no.
It's a Thursday. I
Yeah.
believe.
Right.
Saturday, August 26th.
That's the first game.
There you go.
You have some FCS versus FCS. Then you have FBS.
You know when you really know football is starting? When they play that high school football game on ESPN on Saturday before all the college football starts, like the week before. And that's when they had Sycamore, you know.
Yeah, and they
like
get them
those
to
teams,
run it back.
those teams that play in the day on Saturday before college football starts, that's when you're like, okay, football's
Here.
here. It's
They're
starting.
doing a whole documentary on
I
Bishop
know.
Sycamore.
I know, I saw that.
I mean, interesting.
And Menzel and the Florida Gators on Netflix.
That's gonna be good
It's
week of football.
gonna be good. It's gonna be fun.
Man, this was gonna be dark.
Yeah,
They already came out with an article saying
Uh-huh.
Denzel tried to commit suicide after that bender he went on.
how much was that bender? What was the
5
price tag
million.
on that?
Huh?
$5 million.
$5 million bender. Like, what on earth could you possibly be doing? We're gonna find
Lloyd,
out.
Lloyd's looking like I could
Do that. Yeah, but I don't even know if I'd make it a month.
If y'all see Lloyd after dark, y'all stay away from him. He's
Yeah.
trying to
Get
tell
away,
you.
get away from Lloyd.
Vampiric.
All right.
Stay up late.
The beauty of the Friday fun, loosey goosey fun shows on Friday is
That's what I'll put in the thumbnail.
loosey goosey.
Yeah, Friday's fun, signed, loosey goosey.
Loosey goosey. You don't have to go all the way to the 2-hour show. So now that you're in here and you're in the hot seat now,
Yeah.
we go through the seggies, so you gotta be part of the seggies. So I'm gonna let you go last.
Okay.
You gotta think of a curtain call, something good that happened in
I
sports.
thought you had a
in
show
life.
wide one already.
Huh?
I thought you
Oh
already had
no. Just for
that's
me.
Exclusive. Okay.
That's just for me.
That's fair.
That's just for me. You can do whatever you want.
That's
you know?
fair.
Okay. So basically, curtain call is just something good. Hat tip, curtain call to whatever it is. Feel good thing in the world, feel good thing in sports, whatever you want to do. Something you want to highlight. So if you got anything on the top of your head, great. Keep it in mind. But before we do that, we have Lloyd's segment. Are you ready for that? Do you have one? You don't have one.
I don't have one.
Unbelievable. We've had these things for 2
You
years.
know what? My
We've had these
mistake of the
segments for
day
2
is-
years. You.
I know, but we also have this beautiful studio because of me today, so I didn't really have
Oh
time.
my
Ooh,
God.
pat yourself.
Oh, you did your own. You did the job that we were supposed to do, like the stuff that we can't do.
I know those 2 hours really add up when I should be doing the document.
I'm not. You don't. I didn't blame you.
Oh, look at Lloyd just taking
listen to
shots
Lloyd.
on air.
Look at Lloyd. Nobody's blaming you for not doing any of the document at all.
My mistake of the day is not doing a mistake of the day.
Jeez, dude. Like, I mean, act like you're the only one that does anything over here. All right, mistake of the day is brought to you by our friends at Dozy Place. Mistake of the day is Lloyd not having one today.
But what I should do is to make up for that is get a steak and turn it into a positive from Doe's.
You should go get a steak from Doe's. Absolutely.
We have a date
Agreed.
soon,
Yeah, we need to next week at some point.
at some point.
All right, fine. No mistake of the day. Curtain Call is brought to you by our friends at Assured Partners. For all your insurance needs, commercial insurance needs, call us, me and us, and them, all of us.
I'll pick
all
up the
right.
phone.
What's that?
I said I'll pick up the phone too.
There you go. I'll give my first curtain call since y'all don't really have one yet, and I'll put you on the spot. My curtain call is to football in general, right? Yesterday was a Hall of Fame game. Football started. Last night is the first football game. It didn't count, but it was still a football game. We'll have football every single week until February from here on out. That's very exciting. Very happy about that. We've gone a long stretch, probably about, at least down here in Louisiana, since Omaha ended, of not having really anything on TV that is people want to watch. So we've gone a long stretch of that, and now we're getting out of that. So that's my curtain call.
My curtain call, I just saw this was actually wild. It's more of a stat than a curtain call, but my curtain call is to Stetson Bennett. So if you don't know the timeline of this thing, Stetson Bennett was college teammates with Sony Michel. Sony Michel has, to date, been drafted in the first round. He's been on 4 different NFL teams. He's won 2 Super Bowls, and he's retired. All before Stetson Bennett has taken his first NFL snap. So congrats, Stetson Bennett, because obviously you milked the shit out of college. Good for you.
That's great. That's great. Lloyd?
That's an unbelievable stat. My curtain call is to John Emery.
Okay.
Finally got it done.
He got it done. Finished his internship.
Yes, I thought that was kind of a red flag. Also, is that either he didn't know what day the
I don't
camp
think it was
started,
him. I don't think it was
or the people that he's working for, like, well, no, you got to finish
Or
your job.
Brian Kelly made him do it.
Yeah, like,
There's a third
finish
option.
what you started.
Yeah.
But he got out there, saw someone doing some bag work. So John Emery fully back, and we have a fully staffed room of 8 scholarship running
8.
backs.
We have 2 full depth charts of running backs.
Frank's
4
making a
deep.
statement.
Yeah.
Get everybody.
I'm going to go up to Lincoln, Nebraska.
Oh, love that.
Yep. Arik Gilbert, tight end.
Okay. Is he going to play this year?
I believe he's going to play.
First year in 3 years.
Is that where he's at now?
Yeah, he's at Nebraska, but he was in that same recruiting class with Darnell Washington, who got drafted from Georgia last year. He originally committed to Florida, flipped to LSU, transferred to Georgia, so he's been all over the place and hadn't really found the field with all kind of issues. But looks like he's in a first-year head coach system up at Nebraska, and I think he's going to have a really good year.
All right, shout out to hopefully he has a good year. Hopefully he got everything figured out on the back end of his life.
Yep.
Yeah.
He
Back
can
end.
go
I
out
hope
and
he's
play.
not on the back end of it.
What's that?
I said back end. I hope he's not on the back end of his life.
No, like the behind the scenes. Behind the scenes.
Say, hold up now. Wait, time.
Wait, late entry for mistake of the day.
Here we go.
Oh,
Look at
boy.
this. He really starts throwing shots, and now he's going to make up for it.
We might have to go into the editing room for this one.
Yeah.
Domingo Germain. Do you know who this is for the Yankees?
Oh.
He's a pitcher.
Herman.
Herman?
Yes.
Domingo
Yes.
Herman. Jesus
The
Christ.
one that threw the
Fine.
no-hitter. Or was it a perfect game? One of the, whatever.
Yeah.
Jermaine Dye used to play for the White Sox.
That's where my brain was.
Telling the wrong guy.
German?
Herman.
Herman. Well, either way, you don't have to think about it much.
Her mom's is down the street. It's not here.
Domingo appeared intoxicated during a rehab start, flipped a couch, destroyed a TV, all in the clubhouse before the team announced he'd have to go seek treatment. Before he gets to go to treatment,
What treatment?
alcohol treatment because he appeared drunk, they told him to go sweat it out in the sauna. So he went into the sauna. Sober up, and then you get to go take your car ride.
Where was he? What minor league team was he with?
I guess the Yankees affiliate. I can't read the rest
Boy,
of
tell
the
you
The
what,
question is, did he still buy spread, though? That's all that really matters. Like, did he still provide the spread for
I
the
don't know,
squad?
but I'll tell you this: a minor league affiliate that has a sauna, sign me up
They
for
used-
that.
They used to have one in the old school Charlotte.
What?
Old school Charlotte.
A sauna?
Oh, yeah. Dudes would
I
literally,
never had a sauna in my minor league
dudes
team.
would literally walk in there, cleat it up, everything, full stretch in the sauna, just go out and play the game.
Oh, we did this for the Yankees.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, so he was with the in
He
New
was
York.
with the Yankees, yeah.
Yeah, that's not
Finally
good.
Found the New York Post article.
There you go.
Wall Street Journal was boxing
we had
me
one
out.
in Detroit. We had a sauna in Detroit, and if some of the guys would go out the night before a night game, and had a few too many, we would come back in, and you would get in there early, and you set the sauna at a high temp, and you'd go in there, and you'd bring like 4 or 5 bottles of water, and you would sit in there, and you would just sweat and drink water, then you go sit in the cold tub, hot tub, then you'd shower, then you'd go do all your baseball stuff, and go outside, hit, and outside, sweat again, come back in, shower. By game time, you felt awesome.
Yeah.
It was the greatest hangover remedy
Yeah, I was,
I've ever experienced in my life.
I was all of, I think, 21 or 22. So pretty young at that time. The first time I got called up to AAA, and it was in the old Charlotte Stadium. So I didn't really, we had dudes on the team at the time that was like 35. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. But dudes would literally show up, and it was, hey, Skip, I'm not going to take BP today. I don't feel too good. They'd be sleeping in the clubhouse the entire time. Next thing you know, 45 minutes before the game, they'd be fully dressed, into the sauna, stretch, sweat it out, just come out ready to bang. I'm like, bro, what's going on?
This is the remedy.
probably
Nice long night last
That's
night.
probably why I don't have saunas in minor leagues.
So,
clubhouses.
yeah, I've seen it before.
That's tough. Well, that's good. I'm glad you got to experience it. I never got to experience that in minor leagues.
The experience in that stadium was not good.
Yeah, that's a
We
terrible.
could just drive with your AC off.
That too. Well, if you're here.
Yeah.
Now, if you're in some of the other places, that
You don't want to do that here right now. Good
yeah,
God.
no. All right. Great Friday show. First Friday show here at Cards and Culture. Appreciate all of y'all for coming in and listening to us. We'll continue to get better. We'll continue to be better. We'll have better shows. Football season, I said, is right around the corner, so we'll have a lot more to talk about. Hopefully, the next time our guest shows up.
No shots,
Shows out.
but maybe.
It's okay.
No, that's
It's
all right.
okay,
We-
though.
yeah, we
Look,
talk to
maybe, it's okay. I'm not worried about it. It's fine. Yeah, we'll get him back on. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We will be back here Monday live from 6 to 8 p.m. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you don't like to watch us or you can't watch us and you're driving, you want to listen to us, or anywhere you get your podcasts, we appreciate all the love and support. Before we go, why don't you give a shout out to your boys?
You love putting me on the spot with this without even telling me that's where we're going right
Well,
now.
we haven't
But
talked
since
about
we
it
haven't
yet.
talked about it, we haven't seen them for a while, we've actually moved closer to them. So it makes the hop over if you hop in here, especially on a Friday, because you
Yeah.
can come in, check the show out. You still got time. Drive on down Airline before this traffic gets thick. Go see the boys at Pereira Land Rover and check them out. Great service, great people, great products, and
You'd be shocked to see what you can get
just
over there.
never know
Tell 'em
what
we
a good
sent you.
conversation could get you. Go
Yep.
check
Tell
'em
them we
out.
sent you. All
Damn,
right.
that's clean.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Stay cool. Drink some water. Stay hydrated. It's very hot. See you on Monday.
See.
I just saw